Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Hero Hoists. If you were around in the year of 2009, chances are that you would remember this horrific day, Saturday the 7th of February, a day that caused so much damage to property and took many lives. We now refer to this time as the Black Saturday Fires. So out of respect, here is the 10th anniversary on this week's Classic Restos. Around the 7th of February 2009, no resident or area dweller would have ever imagined in their wildest dreams what was about to encounter them. To the ones that survived, it was the challenge of their lives. Fires fueled by 100-kilometre-an-hour winds, mixed with blistering ambient temperatures, created an energy of force way in excess of those speeds saying no to anything in the way. A series of bushfires that ignited or were burning across the Australian state of Victoria that day amounted to Australia's all-time worst bushfire disasters. Atrocious bushfire weather conditions resulted in Australia's highest ever loss of life from a bushfire. 173 direct fatalities, increasing later to 180. Many were left homeless as a result. As many as 400 individual fires were recorded on 7th of February 2009, all with their own stories of survival. Here in Australia, this is why we call it Black Saturday. As the Saturday progressed, all-time record temperatures were being reached. Melbourne CBD hit over 46 degrees Celsius, exceeding 115 degrees Fahrenheit, the hottest temperature ever recorded for the city. This temperature was higher than the fire weather conditions experienced on Black Friday in 1939 and Ash Wednesday in 1983. Around midday, as wind speeds were reaching their peak, an incorrectly rigged power line was ripped down at Kilmore East, sparking a bushfire that would become the deadliest and most intense firestorm ever experienced in Australia's post-1788 history. It was estimated that the amount of energy released during the firestorm in the Kinglake Marysville area was equivalent to the amount of energy that would be released by 1,500 Hiroshima-sized atomic bombs. The human brain cannot comprehend such ferocity. These were the Black Saturday bushfires, and these are some of their stories.
My name's Greg Chapman. I'm a volunteer firefighter locally. I work full-time in the job. Been involved for about 43 years. Black Saturday, I work both as a volunteer and as my position as a career officer. We had fairly serious concerns when the event started in the morning at Seymour, but we thought they'd stop it at the Hume Highway. When it got over the highway, word was that we're going to get it. And it impacted here somewhere around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We had spot fires occurring around the town out to our northeast. The fire, when it came into the town, this is sort of hitting about 4:30, hit an area known as Chum Creek, and there's many stories, like one truck got caught in the firestorm, went into what we call burn-over mode. They were sent in to rescue some people, and in that event they heard a chainsaw start up ahead of them, so they drove to the chainsaw, and it was a copper trying to cut a tree out of the road, I believe, and they escorted the police car out with the 2 policemen and a family all fitted inside. So that was that one. My part in the deal was stopping spot fires in the Chum Creek area, and then around about 4ish I got a call to say come to work now. I got to work, we waited about 3 hours to get to our engine. We were sent to our engine and immediately dispatched back out here, and they put us on the other side of the valley at Yarra Glen, and that's when things started to really unfold. What's it like? Open an oven door when you're cooking something, multiply it by about anywhere between 100 and 1,000 times. It's hot, the gear you're standing in is hot, it's either soaked with your water or your sweat. 100 kilometres an hour winds, it's driving it. Most times, if you were dealing with a fire in heavy smoke, for about 30 seconds and then the fire's on you. Our trucks of late are now equipped with fire protection water curtains, so therefore they are a saving grace. It's almost a refuge. You work a job, you pull it up, you reckon you're done right, and then you find out there's a house back there and there's a family unaccounted for, cars in the driveway, you know it's not good. Time and time again we're called to house fires, we get there, the people have arrived back, but their houses are on the ground and they want us to put it out, and our orders were very strict that if it's savable, save it, if it's on the ground, keep going. That happened throughout the night, probably 30, 40 times. It's probably the biggest thing. I lived through Ash Wednesday, but this one impacted me. My family, the guilts. I feel guilt that I left my family, yet they were okay because we many times drilled through what we were going to do in the event of a big fire, so we had plans in place. My oldest son's a firefighter, so he was out there as well. A number of people, including myself, are impacted, but at various levels. Over my time, as I say, 10 years down the track, it still bites, but there are those amongst us who are survivors, and hopefully I'm in amongst that list, and we go on. I know my time's nearly through in my career, but there's still a lot of people who'll go on anyway.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
How would you like to double your garage space and work on your cars easily? Well, bring in your own hero with a Lift King hoist. Easy to install models in 1, 2 and 4 post styles. Check the very nifty Spider 2500 portable mini scissor lift. Hero hoists are either Oz certified or carry the Euro CE, your guarantee of quality construction and reliability. I regularly stand under my Lift King, so when you need a bit of a lift, why don't you go stand under yours?
In 2019, why not consider a Detroit tour with Fletch? Detroit, the automotive epicenter. It will leave you gobsmacked. Imagine experiencing where automotive history on a grand scale began. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your 2019 Detroit tour with Fletch. 1300 146 392. Okay, moving along this special episode, it's a big thanks to the Healesville RSL for allowing us to film here this morning and catch up with this guy here. How you doing, Peter?
Good, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way, mate. We know how horrific 2009, or any bushfire for that matter, can potentially be. A lot of lives taken, but we've also got the mechanical side as well. We've got this Jeep behind us that was just totally lost in the fire. A team of people put it back together. Tell us a story.
The project started through the RSL. They purchased the Jeep from Marysville, which was very substantially damaged in the fires and was incomplete. And the Rotary Club sourced some other Jeeps that were totally destroyed at King Lake and through stripping them all down, we eventually put one back together for the RSL. So there's a connection with the fires, and there's a connection there with the RSL as well. Yeah.
So, Peter, where was this Jeep? Was it sitting in a barn in a shed somewhere, or...?
It was part of a car museum that was destroyed up at Marysville. It was one of their exhibits that was waiting to be restored.
Did it take long to rebuild it?
We took about 6 months because there was a team of blokes from the Badger Creek Men's Shed working on it, so that we had expertise there of panel beaters, spray painters, engineers, mechanics, so they all got stuck into it.
What year model is this one, Peter?
It's a 1942 Willys, started its life as a Willys Jeep, and originally went into service with the American Army, probably in the Pacific, because that's the way it found its way to Australia through the Lend-Lease arrangement they had. And the vehicles were, this vehicle was, we think, given to the Air Force because it was in Air Force colours.
Now, I believe vehicles have a soul, and this behind us, what it's been through, and to save its life, I think that's tremendous. One thing in your favour too, a 1942 vehicle, I guess the simplicity of it would have helped in the restoration as well. It's not as though you had a lot of electrics and power steering and air conditioning to have to refurbish.
No, and we didn't need to get it running, even though it's now a complete vehicle. The RSL requested it, they didn't want it running, so that sort of simplified the project a fair bit too, even though we made it a complete vehicle.
Good on you, Peter. Appreciate you turning up today and giving us this information, and I'm sure you'll agree it's a true legacy that this 1942, this little trooper behind us sitting outside the Healesville RSL. It's a fantastic legacy. Thanks again, Peter.
Good. Thanks, Fletch. Appreciate it.
Here we are at Slam Creations in Lilydale, Victoria. How you doing, Troy?
Good, Fletch, yourself?
Good, mate, good. You played a major part of having Classic Restos return. Thank you for that. And how could I not? The 10th anniversary of a catastrophe, but it's so nice in one respect that there are so many people giving major support.
Yep, absolutely. I wouldn't have missed it for anything, so, yep.
Just on that, after the fires of 2009, in terms of the communities, do you think that is everybody that much closer? Has it brought a lot of people together from that time?
Yeah, absolutely. All the little groups in everyone's little towns all stick together and help each other out, and I think they always have since then. Yeah.
It's where the true side of the human beings come out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everyone wants to help each other.
Yeah, it's so nice. You can't beat that camaraderie. Okay, Troy, your custom shop, you've been here quite a few years now. Give us a quick rundown on what you do.
Yeah, we're just a small restoration shop. We aim in doing high-end classic cars and keeping all the classics on the road.
Where do you see it all going, mate? Like in terms of what are people doing? Are they going more custom? Are they keeping things original? What's the story?
It's a mix between the both for us. We'll get one car come in that's full custom. They just want a show car. The next car that comes in, they've just got their original car they've had forever, and they just want it fully restored, back on the road.
All right, Troy, there's no doubt about it, mate. You do an awesome job here, mate. Keep up the great work.
Yep, thank you. And thanks for coming back to do the Black Saturday Remembrance Cruise.
You're welcome, mate. Thanks, Troy.
All right, mate. Have a good one.
Before our cruise to Healesville, it's time for Colin. How are you this morning, Col?
I'm good, thanks, Fletch.
That's the way to think. We've come 10 years from blistering heat, this time 10 years ago, to now rain. It's almost as though the universe is apologising for the weather 10 years ago.
It's certainly a different day to what it was back then.
Absolutely. Now, we've got two stories here with yourself. First of all, the main one. Now, you've got a story here. Your grandfather's 1920s truck lost in the fires. Tell us the story on that.
Yeah, well, my grandfather bought a 1929 truck new. He used to run it, have an orchard out in Montana South. He ran the truck in and out of Victoria Market, the Queen Victoria Market in Melbourne. And when the property was all sold up for development, as a teenager I kept the truck, and I eventually restored the truck and had it registered in 2003. Then on the Black Saturday, it was my daughter's wedding. We were going to use the truck for the wedding, but we decided it was too hot, so we left it in the shed at home. when we came home, there was nothing left. The house was gone, the sheds were gone, including the truck in the shed. So that's the story of my grandfather's truck.
It's just so heart-wrenching, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a real shame. It was something that I couldn't throw away. I've still got it at home now. It's just a wreck. I don't know what I'll ever do with it, but I've still got it.
Okay, so moving on to later times, you've brought this Chev behind us, and you've done a restoration here. So it's good that I guess you've quenched out the fire, so to speak, and you've moved on with your passion. Tell us about this car behind us.
Yeah, we found this one in Yane later on that year in 2009, and we just thought it was too good to leave stacked up in the shed. So my son and I, we gradually restored it, and we had it registered last year. So that's our replacement vehicle for now. I've also bought another truck, the same model as my grandfather's, which is my next project. I'm going to restore that back to what my grandfather's truck was, just to keep it going.
Colin, I think it's really nice that in one respect you've still got your grandfather's truck, although it is the wreck. You've moved on, you've got the Chev now, a bit of best of both worlds there. Colin, thanks for your time turning up here today. Colin's not actually going on the Remembrance Cruise, but been good enough to come here to Yarra Glen to show off the Chev and to tell us about his grandfather's truck. Good on you, Colin.
Okay, thanks for the interview. Nice to meet you.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range.
In 2019, why not consider a Detroit tour with Fletch? Detroit, the automotive epicenter. It will leave you gobsmacked. Imagine experiencing where automotive history on a grand scale began. Stay in fine accommodation, taking in some of the best museums and private car collections on the planet. Book your 2019 Detroit tour with Fletch. 1300 146 392.
Well, here we have it. This is the Saturday. We're at Yarra Glen at the Recreation Centre. The classics are starting to gather behind me for the cruise. Here's the plan. An expected 1,000 classic vehicles comprising all types are supporting the 10th anniversary of the horrific Black Saturday fires. Everyone here is parking up. The cruise is from here at Yarra Glen across to Healesville. Now this beautiful picturesque drive looks sensational today. A far cry from how it was looking this time 10 years ago. The gorgeous mountain ash trees backdrop our surroundings. These are the world's second tallest trees, growing up to around 85 metres, capable of growing 1 metre per year. After we wind our way to Healesville through one of the prettiest drives you'll find in Australia, everyone again parks up, has a chat in remembrance of this terrible day, 7th of February 2009.
My name's Stacey. I organise the Black Saturday Remembrance Cruise, this year being the 10-year anniversary of the Black Saturday fires. I started this event as a tribute to my dear friend Kate, who tragically lost her life up in Talangi in the fires with her partner Steve. So I started it as wanting to create a tribute to her and all the other people that lost their lives, to all the animals that lost their lives and communities, just to bring everyone together, show that we still support them even 10 years on, that we're still here to support these communities, all these people who are visibly still suffering such a great deal. and it's a great way to raise some money for the CFA. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's supported this event from day one, all the people that have come along, who've participated in the cruise, the people who've helped me park cars, to collect money. I want to thank all the emergency service workers who go out and fight fires every day, who keep our communities safe. It's a very special event to me. It comes from the heart, and the people who come to this event come for the right reasons. They come for the same reason, to pay tribute to everything that was lost to those tragic fires.
Well, here we are. We've arrived at Healesville. What a beautiful drive. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, Fletch. Pretty good.
That's good, mate. It was a good drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice and through the windies, a little bit wet, a little bit dry. It was good fun, yeah.
Now, have to thank this guy, Steve, and his family. This is the classic Restos vehicle. We've got a 66 Monterey here, built by Ford back in the day, United States of America. What a great car to drive in.
Yeah, look, it drives beautifully. It's deceptive. It's very smooth. It turns well, stops well. It really surprised me how well it drives.
How long have you had it?
I've only had it for about just over 12 months now. I bought it from a local guy. He was sort of desperate to sell it. He was trying to get rid of it, so I thought swooped in there and scored a bargain.
So you've had it long enough for it to, well, it'll be growing on you by now, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I did a few things to it. I cut some rust out of it, painted the purple on the side as well. Just something a little bit different. You know, I didn't want the run-of-the-mill car, just something unique.
Well, what I like about it, it's got the original 390 in it. Whisper quiet, very smooth. When I say quiet up front, beautiful exhaust note out back, twin 3-inch pipes, not too loud, just right. And well, I think that's everything. It's a perfect balance. You've got your 390 there, that's stock standard, and that dashboard, beautiful dashboard, unmolested, untouched from the day back in '66. Yeah. That's the stuff I love.
Yeah, the whole idea of it was to get it as a cruise car, not to do anything crazy with it, just keep it neat and tidy. Yeah, on a nice day, not so much like days like today, but, you know, take it out, put the roof down and just cruise around.
Steve, what were your experiences 10 years ago on the day?
We'd actually been away in America. We got back the day before, weren't sort of really aware of what was going on. We sort of slept in about 11:30, 12 o'clock. My wife went up the street to get some bread and milk. She rings me, said, hey, look, there's a fire coming. Probably around about 5 o'clock. Basically, the sun just disappeared. The smoke rolled over, sun was gone. It was almost like dark. Wife and kids went up to a friend's place because we decided that was a safer option. Myself and our neighbours, we stayed back and had the fire pumps going and all that sort of stuff. Flames just started creeping up further and further. At one point, I had the fire pump going in onto the trees and the water was evaporating before it got to the trees. For us, we were lucky the wind changed, blew the fire back on itself in a different direction, gave us a bit of respite. Probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock that morning, we realised that, look, we think we're going to be okay. Next morning, about 7 o'clock, when daylight eventually came, then we sort of started to realise how devastating it was. At that point, we had no power, no phones. It was really the next day that we realised how bad it was. For us, we had a fire plan, and like anybody who watches this, if you live in an area like that, have a fire plan. If it's going to be hot and windy, leave early. We were the lucky ones to a point. You know, we survived. Our house survived. We lost our fencing and stuff like that. A lot of our friends weren't so lucky. Some lost houses, some lost their lives. My children at the time were both young, 12 and 7. You know, it's had an effect on them. It's had an effect on all of us, but we've got to take those things and you know, just try and deal with it and grow and, you know, take every moment as it comes and be kind to people. You know, that's what I probably learnt from it as well.
And we complain because we get stuck in traffic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It really puts a perspective on life. You know, you've just got to, you know, tomorrow's another day and you don't know what that day may bring. Yeah. So, yeah, just be kind.
I can't top those words. Steve, been a pleasure, mate.
No worries, Fletch. Anytime, mate. No worries at all. It's been great.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks, mate.
How you going? My name's Graham. Most people call me G. 2009, like Saturday was a pretty big deal for me. I lost 3 family members in the one house. We lost five people in the one house. This is only the second time I've managed to come to the ride. It's just been a bit too hard to bring myself to coming. But with a really great bunch of mates, I've managed to come again. And this year on the 10th anniversary, I laid a wreath at the ceremony for my niece, my nephew and my youngest brother. It's just the worst day you could ever think of. You live it every day, and these days, as bad as they are, they kind of make it better in that your friends are with you at the same time. I really want to thank the people that put it on. I think Stacey does a fantastic job, and thank all the CFA guys for coming along on their bikes. And it's really good to see so many people turn up, especially the classic cars and custom cars that are here and all the bikes. I couldn't count how many there were here today, but a couple of hundred at least. So it's really fantastic turnout to see. You know, it just means so much. So thank you.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Hero Hoists.